I'm excited to be joined by today's presenters, Niall O'Gorman and Heather Kaplan. Niall is Chief Commercial Officer and co-founder of ChannelSight. He has over 20 years' experience in the e-commerce world, playing roles in brands such as Gateway, iOmega, CNET, and most recently, Mondelez. Heather Kaplan is the Customer Success Director for the Americas here at Clavis Insight. She helps product manufacturers maximize the business value they get from the company's e-commerce insights and analytics. And Niall, over to you.
Hi everyone, and welcome again to today's webinar. I'm delighted to join Heather of Clavis to give some insight into key challenges affecting brands in their e-commerce landscape. Just kick on something here. We got and how to overcome these to ensure you get the most out of your marketing investment. So firstly, let's take a look at online versus offline as we move forward in the slide. So how are they different? For online, it's more convenient. Customers can get what they want, when they want, from a brand and retailer's point of view. There's a more structured path to purchase, with the opportunity to interact with customers at various touch points. It's a better consumer experience. They can quickly view product information, see the availability, read the reviews, and have the opportunity to get the items delivered at home or go for a click and collect. There's real-time information, so they can get access to detail on the products, sizes, availability, and also potentially options to add accessories or related items. For the offline shopping, it's less convenient. The customer is more reliant on the store. Are they going to be open when the person wants to go and do their shop? Are they going to have the items that they wish to purchase? Is it going to be in the right size? Is the information going to be as up-to-date and accurate versus what's typically available offline? And it's not real time. So if there is access to data, it's generally old or through channels which are not giving a consistent view of the data from the offline retailer. The e-commerce landscape is growing rapidly with an estimated sales top 27 trillion in 2020. This offers huge potential for companies to capture more of this rapidly growing online channel and digitally influence offline sales. Some interesting stats from the online market are a third of shoppers are buying less in store. This is very worrying for any brand or retailer who have not invested in driving sales through the digital channel, and the importance of online's influence in offline sales. Of this online growth, food and alcohol stands out and has seen the biggest increase at 35%. Cowan & Company found that in the UK alone, 34% of internet users currently purchase groceries online, and a further 34% are willing to buy groceries online. In UK, for context, the average consumer does an online grocery shop 2 times per month. Within that, it's potentially 25 to 50 items in the basket, and that's a great opportunity for a brand who's driving leads to retail to either activate a basket that was already about to happen, piggyback on a session that's already in play, and help drive it to conclusion, or potentially drive a truly incremental basket of goods for a retailer by activating a recipe, where there's a mission to create the recipe, which includes the hero brand items, and in one click from a brand property, they're able to activate and add to basket all the items necessary to fulfill that mission, which brings great value to the brand, but also great value to the retailer as well. To capitalize on this growth, it's important to recognize that your offline market share is not necessarily going to translate online. You've got a lot of factors that you need to take into account. When going online, you've got the competitive factors of the brands that you're already in competition with. You've got more nimble new entrants into the market, which are more natively digitally savvy and talking to the consumers in a way that they are used to online, where they got access to better information, potentially having direct conversation with the brand, and I suppose building a relationship versus having a transaction. In order to fend off the threat from traditional competitors and more nimble new entrants, and also retailers pushing their own brand items, it's necessary for brands to partner with companies like Clavis in order to understand their digital shelf and to optimize the digital shelf, and to work with companies like ChannelSight to then drive the leads from their properties across all owned, earned, paid channels in order to make sure that both of those opportunities are working in harmony. In an effort to capture more of this online market, where are organizations investing? A recent study by the Association of National Advisors found that 69% of brands are putting focus on shoppable ads via digital banners, social media commerce, PPC, buy now ads, etc. Of that, online company stores, the DTC operation of the brand, 65% are dipping their toe in the water, but we tend to see that that is less than 10% of the overall activities of the company. Mobile commerce payments is another area that brands are starting to invest heavily in because more than 50% of traffic, typically to brand properties, tends to be through mobile or tablet devices. Buy now activity or driving to indirect retailers like Target, Walmart, Amazon, etc., represents around 44% of activity for the brand. However, this is rapidly growing as brands mature in their understanding of how to leverage digital activity to drive conversion and sales both online and off. So what happens when consumers go in search of ways to purchase your product? 54% of visitors are typically going to brand sites or owned, earned, or paid media. So social media posts, landing pages, videos, any content that a brand is pushing out there throughout their channels. They have purchase intent, so they're ready to convert and go to an active purchase. The problem is, without a clear call to action and a means to get them to that exact product on the retail side, only about 8% are ultimately getting there. The rest are being distracted. It's like a leaky bucket. They're ending up having to go back to Google, they go to the home page, they get distracted by competitive offers, and ultimately it makes it more challenging for them to go and purchase your product. If you're working with somebody like ChannelSight, we are effectively like the digital infrastructure, the digital transit system or connection between the brand properties and the retail. We get the user from A to B without competitive distraction to the exact item that they were looking at with a one-click add to basket option to get them to convert to a sale. An omni-channel approach is key. Today, you see a lot of difference between the way that people are treating their in-store versus their online presentation for the product. You may not sell much online today, but the impact of digital extends way beyond e-commerce. Digital has a 100% impact on the shopping experience and 50% influence on purchase, whether that's in-store or online. Instead of the path of purchases is traditionally linear or a series of transactions, it has become more like a series of moments of influence, where consumers move through the back and forth between the stages influenced by both offline and online practices at every stage. Having an omni-channel approach lets consumers buy from their preferred channel of purchase. Various channels can be used to drive relevant information at different touch points along the path to purchase, making sure consumers get hit with the right information at the right time, enabling them to purchase where and when they want from their preferred retailer. A consumer may initially research a product online, go in store to see the product, and then later purchase it online or offline. While it seems easy in theory, e-commerce, as we all know, is a tricky business. For many different reasons, it's a challenge to get the person who has purchase intent and interest to buy your product over to the place where they can transact, whether that's with a traditional retailer or with a marketplace or through your own DTC channels. Shoppers essentially want easy-to-find products, a more enjoyable shopping experience than offline, choice, value for money, inspiration from brands that they like. However, too often online shoppers get overcomplicated sites, not designed well, which focus on high-tech rather than usability, and too much choice, which makes it difficult for them to select, and then not clear paths to purchase in order to activate them over to the retailers so they can complete the sale. The top 4 reasons for failure we regularly see with clients are poor user experience, too many clicks in the path to purchase, not presenting consumers with a clear next step, and a lack of reporting the insights to determine what content is delivering to the bottom line, in allowing brands and retailers to optimize accordingly. So how can brands ensure that engagement is converted to sale across all digital channels? There are basically 4 key principles that you should follow. Firstly, to capitalize on paid and earned consumer interest, you need to ensure you offer the convenient options to purchase across all channels, including all owned, earned, and paid media. In the examples we can see on the screen, you've got an activation across social ads, organic posts, websites, landing pages, display banners, and video. At every stage, giving the consumer the possibility to purchase. It's equally important to know when not to deploy buy now capability. Because, for example, if you're launching a new product and you're still in the education phase, you might want to lead them through to a place where they can learn more about the item and then afterwards follow up with a call to action of a buy now, whether that's on the brand page or by retargeting them on social media via Facebook newsfeed as an example. And with the rapid adoption of buy now technology across digital platforms in recent years, consumers have come to expect options to purchase across all panels, or all channels. If you're educating the consumer on a new product launch, then as we said earlier, it's important to make sure that as part of that consumer journey and the campaign planning, that you're verifying where it's appropriate to trigger the act of purchase and where it's appropriate to hold back in order to ensure that you're not disrupting the consumer flow and that you're presenting with the right information at the right time and when appropriate, a call to action. Secondly, you need to offer choice in the consumer journey. Provide a list of recommended retailers, but let the consumer take a lead from there. Consumers want to feel in control of the buying process versus being corralled to a particular retailer, which is the brand's choosing. The user may pick Amazon because they want to buy other items at Amazon. They may pick Target because they have a loyalty card and they want to collect points. It's possible for the brands to be able to randomize the results, to focus on particular retailers, to try and ultimately drive people back to their DTC or direct purchasing options. But at the end of the day, by providing the user more choice, you're ultimately going to see a rise across all of those channels because they feel that they are in control, that they're in the driving seat on how they purchase and interact with your product. Thirdly, you need to offer consumers a quick and easy path to purchase. It's essential to offer an rich and easy to follow process. You need to aim to make sure that you have no more than 3 to 4 steps, ideally 1 to 2 clicks before they're added to basket. As you can see from our customer example here with Mentos, they optimize their brand website, offering 3 simple steps for consumers to select, choose their preferred retailer, and add it directly into the basket. This basically avoids then a broken consumer experience. The customer doesn't have to go back off to Google or hunt around for the product. They don't get distracted when they land on a retailer's homepage. They're not going up against competitive adverts, which may be on the retailer side against your brand. It also keeps your customers happy, keeps them engaged, and facilitates the building of a relationship. Lastly, analyzing past channel and content performance can really help in better planning for the future. Knowing what content delivers to what retailers, channels, and campaigns, and which ones are performing best, will ensure optimal allocation of marketing budgets going forward. A lack of visibility leads to poor investment and a wastage of marketing budget, something every brand wants to avoid. To be successful and competitive in the marketplace, you need to ensure you get the best from your digital marketing spend. In order to facilitate that, sales data and insights from path to purchase solutions are necessary in order to be able to review and optimize the channels, the campaign, and the activity that's driving to a sale. So now we've looked at how to capture and connect consumers to make the most of your digital marketing spend. The next step is to ensure your products are ready once you get them to the retailer store. Now I'd like to hand over to Heather of Clavis, who will take you through how to ensure your products are ready in the online store and how to ultimately drive success and curate the consumer's path to purchase once they've landed on the retail site. Thank you.
Great, thanks so much. I'll be talking a little bit about how to ensure your products are ready online within the e-commerce environment. And I'm sure that most people on the webinar can relate to this scenario. You're shopping online, maybe on Amazon.com or on Walmart.com, and you come across a really interesting marketing campaign for a particular product. You do some searching around on the site, you find the exact SKU that you want to purchase. It has really great content and you're very engaged. It has high reviews and you're excited for the purchase. And you go to buy the product and you find out that it's unavailable or out of stock. In this example here, a consumer is trying to shop on Amazon.com and sees that a particular product is not going to be available for a couple of days. That can lead to a lot of consumer frustration, or worse even, a lost sale. Now, we're going to talk a little bit more about how to make sure that your product is available online. But first, let's take a step back and think about how much investment you're making in digital marketing and how you can determine your ROI on that spend. There are a lot of different things that manufacturers can analyze to understand their performance online. For example, are their sales increasing? Are their competitors doing as well as their own products, or better or worse? Are they increasing in either share or search results within the category? And are their promotions successful? If they are seeing any issues, there are ways to dive into this a little bit more to understand why maybe sales aren't optimal or why competitors are doing better than their own brands. Manufacturers can take a look at availability to see if their products are in stock or are sometimes out of stock and unavailable. If there are opportunities to improve imaging or content, maybe there aren't a lot of reviews or strong ratings, or maybe there's some pricing discrepancies. Now, there's a lot that you can analyze when you're trying to understand your product online. We here at Clavis have put some parameters around this to make this a little bit simpler and to direct attention so that you can make some quick changes to your products. We started by thinking about bricks and mortar and how you analyze your business there. Typically, you look to understand your 4 Ps: product, placement, price, and promotion. Now, those 4 metrics can translate to the e-commerce world. Understanding if a product is available or not, where it's falling in the menu or search results, if pricing is on par with competition, and the frequency and depth of promotion. But within e-commerce, there are a couple of other metrics that can help us paint a full picture of a product's performance online. First, perfect page, and that means having a great image, title, pictures, and content, ratings and reviews, and then also performance. Not only having strong sales and share online, but having a strong search result, and not only having your products high up in search ranking, but having most of your items available kind of in the top part of that search results page. So at Clavis, we can help our manufacturing partners understand each of these 6 Ps. We have a wide variety of metrics and tools to allow you to dive a little bit deeper and even alerts so that you can stay up to date with any changes. What I'm going to talk about specifically are the metrics that we use to analyze product, and then a little bit later on I'll talk about perfect page as well. So product is really driven by availability. We want to make sure that products are available to purchase. And there can be 2 ways that they're not available. The first is out of stock, which accounts for about 8% of products online. That simply means that a product is unavailable. Similar to my example earlier, it might soon be available for purchase, but it's not currently today. It could also be that the product is available for purchase in store, maybe in Walmart physical stores or in Target stores, but it's not available online. Now, the next type of unavailable grouping are voids. That means that a product page is completely inaccessible to shoppers. That could be due to a technical glitch, but also some retailer sites hide pages when a product is unavailable. So even if a consumer is shopping for a certain brand or even a UPC, they're not able to find it online. those make up kind of a higher percentage than simple out of stocks, but both of those mean that a product is not available to purchase. What we can help with here at Clavis is helping you understand where there's opportunities to increase availability. This is especially going to be important if you're going to run a campaign, making sure that your products are available for purchase as you're driving consumers to a retailer website. First, take a look at your availability by retailer and determine which retailers you have the highest availability in or where there are opportunities to improve. You can see in my example on the bottom of the screen, the second and third retailer listed have a good percentage of items that are out of stock. So that might need to be addressed early on in the campaign. Also, take a look at competition to see if this issue is true for your own brands or if it's consistent across the category. It's also important to take a look at availability over time to understand any seasonality issues. Perhaps products are frequently out of stock in the holiday season, and so that's something that you can get ahead of with some planning for the next year. Now, once you launch a campaign and you're driving consumers to a retailer's site to look at your products, you want to make sure that it's available, and if there are any issues, that you're alerted immediately so you can address those. Within our Clavis platform, we have the option to create alerts so that our manufacturing partners can be immediately notified if there is any unavailable product or any change versus the day prior. Then they can action against that quickly and make sure that the product is back in stock. Now that we've discussed availability, I'll turn our attention to perfect page, ensuring that your brand has really strong content and ratings and reviews, which will in turn help it rank higher in search results. Now, content's really important, and it's important for a variety of reasons. First, to abide by any legal requirements, such as government warnings, alcohol content, nutrition, etc. Also, in spurring conversion and turning potential buyers into buyers and in getting them to click that buy button. Also, content's very important for optimizing search visibility. The stronger content you have, the better bullets, the better title, the higher you're going to rank in search results, and that'll lead to much higher sales. Also, content can be important to connect with the consumer and let them know more about your product so that they understand exactly what they're purchasing, which will lead to customer satisfaction. I'll provide an example. I purchased spatulas the other day, and they weren't really flexible, and they were kind of tough and hard to use. And it led me to put a really bad review on the retailer website, along with hundreds of other consumers that had the same issue that I did. If the product page had been a little bit more specific and let me know what to expect, then I wouldn't have been dissatisfied. Now, all of this feeds into is what we call ROPO. Having really strong content online can, of course, help your online sales, but it can also help your offline sales as well. Niall talked about consumers researching online but buying in store, so having a lot of information available online can even spur some of those in-store purchases. Now let's talk about some specific things that you can do to make sure that your content is optimized. First, making sure that you have relevant keywords in your titles, and not even keywords that you're using internally within your office, but keywords that consumers are using when they're shopping for your product online. Use numerical numbers and use shopper languages, not only for keywords, but for pack sizes or any other descriptions. And think about using a naming convention that is consistent across your entire portfolio of products. In this example here, you could have a similar title for all items by starting with the brand and then sub-brand, category, and then getting more detailed by variant and size. Some recommendations on what not to do include abbreviating, using industry or internal terms, using anything that's subjective, or punctuation. Now I'll talk a little bit about images and some best practices here. Mobile optimized hero images are really great. Unilever made a lot of changes to their products to ensure that they had mobile optimized images, and it drove a significant uplift in their tests. Also, having multiple images and videos can make a really big difference. Amazon recommends 7 images, and anything more than that is great as well. It really gives the consumer a good understanding of what they're purchasing. Each additional image that you use improves conversion. Research on eBay shows by up to 3%. So it's definitely important to take advantage of that. Enhanced content can also help as well. Adding enhanced content can increase purchase intent by up to 20%, and that drives sales increases double digits. So also very important to make sure that you have that on your product pages. Now, thinking about the entire page, some best practices, starting with the titles, making sure that you have keywords included. In this example here, Quest Nutrition Protein Bar, the keyword protein bar is prominent in the title, so that helps with search ranking. Having a mobile-ready hero image, as we just discussed, and multiple images. You want at least 5 secondary images. More is better, especially on Amazon, and at least 1 video. For bullet points, make sure that you have at least 5 or 6 bullets, and ensure that there may be 1 or 2 lines. Typically, it's not as good to have multiple paragraphs because it tends to be too wordy and consumers don't always read that information. And make sure that content fields are complete and error-free, and that you're leveraging any marketing material that you've put together for A+ content. The next component of having a perfect page is ratings and reviews. And these are really important for driving conversion. 95% of shoppers are looking at ratings and reviews when they're shopping online as well as offline. They could be in store looking at a product and they pull up ratings and reviews to help them decide if they want to make that final purchase. And most consumers consider this to be an essential resource when they're making a purchase decision. Now, having ratings and reviews can increase your traffic and also your conversion rate. What I think is really interesting as well is that many consumers go to Amazon to find additional reviews if they can't find reviews on a brand or another retailer site. So consumers go out of their way to seek reviews and to see what other people are saying about that product. Some advice for ratings and reviews: set a target for each of your products to 20 reviews and a rating of 4. That's kind of standard across the board, although it does vary by category. So take a look at competition to make sure that those targets make sense. For example, in the alcohol category, there are typically fewer reviews. So this might vary a bit. Look at any product that has a low rating and determine if there's an issue that you might need to fix. Maybe there is a problem with shipping or with the product description that is misleading consumers. Kind of like my example with the spatula earlier, some of the issues with the reviews could have been helped by having more clear content on the page. And take a look at any items that don't have any reviews, which could, if you added a review, could result in a pretty quick uplift. If you have a customer care center, respond to 1 or 2 star reviews. And also use reviews to identify any keyword candidates. See how consumers are talking about your product and what words they're using. I'll end with a specific example from one of our partners, Coty, in the UK. Now, they are a global leader in the fragrance category. They're second in salon coloring and third in color cosmetics. So they do very well, especially offline. A huge company based in 150 countries. And specifically, we are working with them in the UK. Now, last year, they saw that there was a huge movement online, and more consumers were purchasing these categories online. They knew that they needed to come up with a really strong plan because they do well offline, but that's because of how they can engage with their potential customers. Customers would touch and smell the product and sample items, and it's really hard to do that online. So they needed to think very strongly about their e-commerce strategy. To make things even a little more complicated, they don't own their brands, and they don't sell directly to consumers. They sell through retailers. So they didn't have as much control as typical manufacturers do. What they did was they worked really closely with Clavis to understand the current landscape. They analyzed 20 of their top brands within the UK, and they saw that they scored pretty low in a few areas, but because of that, they were able to come up with a really targeted action plan on how they could improve their content, drive ratings and reviews, and add videos to their product pages. Once they made those changes, we saw a huge increase in their scores, and they saw a huge increase in their sales. They even found a really great opportunity to collaborate with a perfume shop to create some unique content specifically for that retailer. So it helped with some of their collaboration across retailers. Now, one thing that was really interesting here is because they focused so much on getting their content right, when the category was increasing by 15%, Coty increased by 40%. So in summary, of course, it's important to make sure that you have a very positive ROI on your marketing spend. And you can do this in multiple ways that we've talked about, specifically measuring the channel and understanding where there are opportunities to optimize and to succeed, and then using our 6 Ps framework to understand each of the metrics and where you can move the needle.
Great. Thank you, Heather and Niall, for your great insights. We've now actually reached the question-answer portion of the program. So if you do have any questions, you can enter them into the Q&A box located on the right-hand side of your screen. And while you're writing your questions, I'll go ahead and give you a brief overview of Clavis Insight. So Clavis is leading-edge technology. It visits online retailers such as Amazon, Walmart, Target, and other online retailers across the U.S. It harvests everything that a shopper would see, and then utilizing the 6P e-commerce intelligence framework, provides easy-to-understand reports and dashboards to enable product manufacturers to understand the actions they need to take to optimize their presence on the digital shelf. In addition to our core platform and services, we also offer our new promotions analysis tool, which enables manufacturers to have more granular insights into their effectiveness of their promotional strategies and analyze their campaigns versus their competitors, understand what promotion types are prevalent for your categories in the online channel, and more importantly, get a full calendar view of your promotions to understand your promotional landscape. You can get more information on both our core platform and our promotions analysis tool by contacting us or visiting our website. Great, and now that we're done with that brief commercial, it's time for the question and answers. One popular question that I am seeing, are the recording and deck going to be available? Yes, they will be available. Certainly keep an eye on your inbox over the next 1 to 2 days, and you'll be receiving the copies of both items. Great. Well, it looks like the first question here might be for Niall. So is there such a thing as too many calls to actions? You know, should we really be putting buy buttons, everywhere?
Yeah, thank you very much, Paul. I think, as I briefly mentioned within the presentation, it's very important to understand when to present a call to action and when to present a buy now call to action. As an example, if you're releasing a new product, you're probably going to be going through the education phase up front, so it's inappropriate to present a buy now button when the person doesn't even know what the item is. So maybe you'll start off with an education video and then later on retarget them on Facebook or capture them on a landing page once they've gone through the education phase with a call to action, which might be to buy now, try now, or activate them to go to a physical store. So really what we find with our customers is that it's important for to be included in the very earliest stages of the brand's campaign planning phase in order that we're able to provide value and suggest where the buy buttons or call to actions should be activated and where they shouldn't. So we find that we spend an equal amount of time suggesting to people where to place buy buttons and equally where not to place buy buttons in order to get the most optimum solution for the campaign and make it as effective as possible.
Great. And Heather, I think this one might be for you. Do you find in your experience working with the Clavis customers that retailers are open to make changes to help brands, have better performance within their online promotions?
Sure, good question. It's definitely a two-way street. So I think retailers understand that they'll benefit a lot from having a successful campaign. I just talked about that Coty example where they worked really closely with a perfume shop. And in addition to having unique content for the perfume shop, they actually changed the structure of their landing pages to make better use of the Coty content. And that resulted in such a huge uplift, which of course benefited both the brand and the retailer. So yeah, we definitely see that happening more and more.
Great. In terms of some perfect content here, so would you recommend including product flavor in a title for food and beverage brands?
Yeah, definitely. I think if that is an important criteria for consumers, it's worth including in the product title. A lot of our manufacturing partners have decision trees, which show some of the top subcategories or maybe variants or flavors that are important in making a decision. So that's great to have in titles.
Perfect. Great. And then I think one last question probably for the two of you. I guess, do you guys have any insights in terms of how much, kind of some of the dollar or percentage impacts of the online channel and the bricks and mortar and on, in-store sales?
Sure. I know there's a huge blurring of lines between online and offline. A lot of consumers are shopping online and they're going in-store to make a purchase, or they're going in-store but making a purchase online. There was a Forrester report last year which showed that $1.3 trillion of sales are affected in some way by digital. So it's definitely having an impact, and it'll continue to do so in the next couple of years.
Great.
Yeah, and just to add to that, as Heather says, it's a massive impact. But if we think about it logically, if you're presenting on a brand page a retailer logo, so for example, it's Target, Walmart, Amazon, etc., and for the retailers that have a physical presence, once that retailer logo is displayed, which is effectively presenting the availability to purchase that item online for home delivery or for click and collect, you're also educating the person that that item is typically available from them through their retail outlets as well. So I may be looking to shop for something online, but then once I see that it's available in Target, I might go, hey, I'm going to be in Target later on today. I'm going to take a chance and see if it's in store because I'm going to be already in there purchasing other items. So the value of that, I suppose, retailer impression and the value of taking those aggregated retailer impressions and going back and having a conversation with the retailer to drive, I suppose, maybe additional promotional support or concessions versus investments regarding MDF or co-op funds can be leveraged. But also it's just reflective of what's actually happening. It's logical to assume if people are presented with an option and they understand that that brand or that retailer has availability offline, they are potentially going to go to a physical store because maybe it's an impulse purchase, or maybe they're going to look to purchase an item with other things that they're looking to collect in that physical store. So we noticed, again, similar to what Heather said about the Forrester report, if you take the Google Barometer study, which is done over a lot of markets and out by a number of categories, which went into sort of very detailed analysis of online's impact on offline. We noticed that there's anything from a 4-to-1 to an 8-to-1 factor of influence, depending on who you talk to, and that obviously breaks out based on the maturity of the market and also the level of activity in the different verticals within that market.
Great. Well, thank you guys. Need a cough button there. Perfect. Well, that looks like all the questions we had for today. We do ask that you two take a couple of seconds to fill out our post-webinar survey. Certainly let us know what you thought about the content for today's webinar, or suggest some other presentations or content you'd like to see delivered in 2018. This will also give you an opportunity to ask for some more information both on ChannelSight and on Clavis Insight. As a special thank you for all those who participated, you can get a copy of our newest and one of our more popular white papers, Winning Online with 6 P's E-Commerce Intelligence. Niall and Heather, thank you once again. I know I could speak for Heather here, and that we were shaking our head or nodding our head to a lot of the content that was being said. Heather is shaking her head at me, but we were both nodding through a lot of the content, so I hope you were as well. And then for those who've attended multiple webinars with us this year, thank you for your continued support, and thank you, Niall and team, and we hope you have a wonderful end of the year and a prosperous 2018. Thank you all, and have a wonderful afternoon. Goodbye.